Daphne and Simon are Bridgerton's first love story. The Duke and the debutante, enemies to lovers, a fake courtship that became real, the romance that launched the entire series, and fans fell in love with them. But here's what nobody wants to talk about. Daphne and Simon's relationship isn't healthy. It's not romantic. It's built on lies, manipulation, and violated consent. And the show glamorizes it. Let me explain. From the beginning, Simon and Daphne enter a fake arrangement. She needs suitors. He needs to avoid marriage-minded mothers, so they pretend to court. And it's supposed to be harmless, a mutually beneficial agreement. But the foundation is already broken, because their entire relationship is a performance. Neither of them is being honest. And when you build a relationship on pretending, you can't be surprised when the truth destroys it. But let's go deeper. Simon's trauma. His father, the Duke, was abusive, emotionally neglectful. He told Simon he was worthless, stupid, a disappointment. And when Simon developed a stutter as a child, his father abandoned him, wouldn't even look at him. So Simon spent his entire childhood trying to be worthy, trying to be seen, and he never was. Not until his father was dying. And even then, the only thing his father cared about was an heir, a legacy. The Hastings line continuing. So Simon made a vow. He would never marry, never have children. He would let the duchy die with him, because that was the one way to hurt his father, to deny him the legacy he cared about more than his own son. And psychologically, this makes sense. Simon's vow isn't about not wanting children. It's about revenge. It's about reclaiming power over a man who took everything from him. But here's the problem. Simon carries that vow into his relationship with Daphne, and he never tells her the truth. When Daphne asks about marriage, Simon says he can't give her what she wants, and she assumes he means he doesn't want to settle down. But Simon doesn't mean can't as in won't. He means can't as in I've sworn an oath, and he lets her believe the lie, because if he tells her the truth, she'll leave, and he doesn't want her to leave. So he manipulates her into staying. He gives her half-truths, vague answers, just enough to keep her close, but not enough to let her make an informed choice. And that's not love, that's control. Now let's talk about Daphne. She's been raised her entire life to be a wife and mother. That's her value in society, her purpose, her identity. And she wants that. She wants a family, children, a partnership. And Simon knows this. He knows what she wants, and he pursues her anyway. He kisses her, he proposes to her, he marries her, and he never tells her that he's made a vow to never have children. He tells her on their wedding night, after they're already married, after she's already trapped. And that's not honesty. That's betrayal. Because Daphne didn't consent to a childless marriage. She consented to marriage with a man she thought wanted the same things she did. And Simon knew that. He knew, and he married her anyway, because he wanted her more than he cared about her autonomy. And that's selfish. Now here's where it gets even worse. Daphne doesn't understand sex. She's been sheltered her entire life. She doesn't know how reproduction works. And Simon uses that ignorance. He tells her he can't give her children, but he doesn't explain why. He doesn't tell her about the vow. He just says it's impossible. And Daphne believes him. She thinks he's infertile, that it's a medical condition, not a choice. And Simon lets her believe that, because as long as she doesn't know the truth, she can't make an informed decision. And that's manipulation. It's lying through omission. It's withholding information to control someone's choices, and it's a violation of trust. Then Daphne finds out the truth, not because Simon tells her, but because she overhears a conversation. She learns that Simon has been pulling out during sex to avoid pregnancy, that he's been lying to her, using her, controlling her body and her future without her knowledge. And she's devastated, betrayed, furious, and she has every right to be, because Simon didn't just lie, he stole her ability to choose. He made a decision about her life without her consent, and that's not a mistake, that's abuse. Now here's the scene everyone argues about. Daphne confronts Simon, and during sex, she holds him down and forces him to finish inside her. She takes away his ability to pull out, She violates his consent, and the show frames it as empowerment, as Daphne taking control. But it's not empowerment. It's sexual assault. And this is where the show fails. Because what Simon did to Daphne was wrong. He lied. He manipulated. He violated her trust. But what Daphne did to Simon was also wrong. Two wrongs don't make a right. Violating someone's consent, even if they violated yours, is still assault. And the fact that the show doesn't treat it that way is deeply problematic. Because this isn't a romance. It's a cycle of harm. Simon hurt Daphne, so Daphne hurt Simon. And instead of addressing the toxicity, the show gives them a happy ending. They have a baby, they reconcile, they live happily ever after, and the message is clear. Love conquers all, even lies, even manipulation, even assault. But that's not love, that's trauma bonding. Let's define trauma bonding. It's when you form an attachment to someone through cycles of abuse and reconciliation. The highs are intense, the lows are devastating. And you stay because the good moments feel so good that you convince yourself the bad moments are worth it. But they're not. Daphne and Simon have intense chemistry, passionate moments, deep connection. But they also have lies, betrayal, violated consent. And the passion doesn't erase the harm. It just makes it harder to leave. Now here's what the show should have done. Daphne and Simon should have separated, taken time apart, gone to therapy if this were modern day, rebuilt trust slowly, with honesty, with accountability, with real change. Simon should have apologized, not just for lying, but for stealing Daphne's choice, for prioritizing his revenge over her autonomy. Daphne should have apologized, for assaulting him, for using his body without consent, for thinking that fighting manipulation with manipulation would fix anything. And then maybe, after real work, they could have rebuilt. But the show doesn't do that. It skips accountability. It jumps to forgiveness. And it teaches viewers that toxic relationships are romantic as long as the people are attractive and the music is sweeping. But real love isn't about intensity. It's about safety. It's about honesty. It's about making decisions together, not for each other. And Daphne and Simon never learned that. They just had a baby and called it healing. But a baby doesn't fix a broken foundation. It just adds more weight to something that was already crumbling. So here's the truth about Daphne and Simon. They're not a love story. They're a cautionary tale about what happens when you prioritize passion over communication, when you build a relationship on lies, when you think love means sacrifice instead of partnership. Simon didn't love Daphne enough to tell her the truth. Daphne didn't love Simon enough to respect his boundaries, and neither of them loved each other enough to walk away when the relationship became harmful. Because sometimes, love means letting go. Sometimes, it means saying this isn't working and we both deserve better. But they didn't do that. They stayed. They hurt each other. And the show called it romance. But it's not romance. It's toxicity wrapped in Regency gowns and classical music. And we deserve better than that. We deserve stories that show us what healthy love looks like, not what trauma bonding looks like. And Daphne and Simon, they deserved better too.